What is happening in Kenya today? Gunshots, tear gas, and protests week in, week out in what seems like a never-ending cycle of civil unrest. So far, 50 people have been killed and over 300 have been injured, with only 50 arrests being made. Kenya, the great leading East African nation, is on the brink of collapse, and its Gen Z is at the forefront of this fight for economic justice and political reform. The current wave of protests in Kenya was sparked by a controversial financial bill proposed by President William Ruto's government back in June 2024. This bill includes significant tax hikes aimed at addressing the country's substantial budget deficit and managing its overwhelming national debt, which stands at around $82 billion. In the past few years, Kenya has been struggling with high unemployment rates and rising poverty levels. Many people are finding it difficult to afford basic necessities, and the proposed tax increases have been seen as a tipping point. The International Monetary Fund, commonly referred to as the IMF, has pressured Kenya to implement these austerity measures to stabilize the economy. But this has been deeply unpopular among the public, leading to large protests across the country. The protests, which began peacefully, have unfortunately escalated into violent confrontations. Reports indicate that police have used live ammunition, resulting in 54 people dead and over 300 people injured. As a desperate measure to get things under control, the government deployed the Kenya Defense Force to mitigate the growing unrest. This move has been widely criticized and labeled as unconstitutional and is currently facing legal challenges. The heavy-handed approach has only fueled further anger as resistance among the protesters continues to ignite. Key figures, including human rights experts and economic analysts, highlight that the root of this unrest lies in the severe economic challenges that Kenyans are already enduring. The increased taxes are seen as an additional burden on a population that is already grappling with high unemployment rates and rising poverty levels. This combination of factors has driven the public, mainly the Gen Z, to the streets, demanding not just the withdrawal of the financial bill, but also broader economic reforms and better governance. As of today, the situation remains tense. Protests continue in various parts of the country, with demonstrations demanding that the government scrap the proposed tax hikes and address the economic challenges more effectively. The High Court's decision on the legality of the military deployment is eagerly awaited and could significantly impact the course of these protests. President Ruto himself did take a step back and announced that he will not proceed to signing the Financial Bill 2024. However, this still doesn't seem to be enough for the protesters, as only recently they proceeded with attempts to occupy the State House with #RutoMustGo chants demanding the president's resignation. At the moment, nothing seems to work for President Ruto, and with the dismissal of almost his entire government on Thursday, 11th of July, 2 weeks into the protests, the president of Kenya is as isolated from the nation than ever before. What do you think is happening in Kenya? Are we going to see positive results in the long run, or is this just another short-lived cry for change? Regardless of the impact, this is clearly a threat to the nation's peace and prosperity, one that may see it change its course in history. The Gen Z movement is here, and it is making grounds all across the African borders. This political trend is now seen in Nigeria, where the youth is uniting behind the same identity to stand against poor governance and leadership. For those well accustomed to the financial bill, do you think it justifies the ongoing protest, or is it a bit far-fetched? Especially with the influence of social media, this may just be another movement that has gone viral for the right reasons, but lost its direction along the way due to publicity and, more evidently, lack of leadership. As the Gen Z claim, they have no leader, they have no funding, they have no influence, they only have their own future to fight for.